On today's episode, I'll be giving you my initial reactions to Christopher Robin, and then we're going to be going over our thoughts on the new releases and how we think they'll fare at the box office. Let's get started.
This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
Welcome, everyone. This is Off the Break Podcast. I'm Cody, and with me today is just Eric.
Kyle is sick again.
Kyle's sick again. We promise he's not dying. He just is a little ill and under the weather. But he will rally, and we will get him back here on Monday.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully, yeah. So today, Eric went and saw Christopher Robin. Not Christopher saw Eric. Eric went and saw Christopher Robin, the Disney story of an adult Christopher Robin who gets revisited by his childhood toys, Winnie the Pooh, Eeyore, Tigger, Piglet. How did you like it? What were your thoughts?
I went to there was only one Showtime showing last night. It was like at 9:00. There was a few other people. They were actually mostly like older women. They were kind of going as like a friend kind of date, like girlfriend thing. So I thought that was kind of cute. But no, I really liked the movie. It was exactly what you would want from a Winnie the Pooh story. It was really, really simple, but it had so much heart, and the message of the movie was actually really strong. I feel like a lot of people might think it oversimplify it, but what I got out of it is essentially it's a movie about realizing that once you get older, naturally you're going to have these more responsibilities and, just life happens, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to leave behind your childlike spirit or your inner child, which is a theme that it's probably not super original, but it's the way that this movie executes it, and especially through the classic Poohisms that Pooh will give every once in a while. It's just a really heartwarming, really uplifting movie. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, nice. I want to check it out this weekend. Is it a movie you take little kids to? Or is it really just for adults?
The first act the first 10 minutes of the movie is like, it's kind of like Up, the Pixar movie, where it just hits you with this gut punch at the very beginning.
No.
It's natural. It just shows Christopher Robin as a kid, and then he grows up, and then
he leaves them.
Yeah, he leaves them because he goes to boarding school.
Does he slowly stop coming, or is there a clean break because he goes to boarding school?
Yeah, it's just like a clean break.
Oh,
and there's
sad.
just these scenes with him and Pooh that just, oh my God, it's like not even 10 minutes in. Why do I have this lump in my throat? But no, after that, there's like, it's a pretty long first act in terms of setting up the story, and you don't see a whole lot of Pooh. It's a lot of grown-up Christopher Robin, Ewan McGregor in his workplace. So the first act might be a little bit slow for like younger kids. It's a good first act, but once Pooh comes back into the story and the other characters come back in, then I feel like kids would like it a lot. There's a lot more for them to enjoy.
Well, I know that there was a lot of buzz and interest, which generated over time, surprisingly, because when I first saw the first pictures of it and then the first trailer for it, I was kind of thinking that the Pooh characters look like, just the visuals of them looked weird.
Because we're so used to that adorable hand-drawn little yellow bear.
Yeah, and this the texture of them maybe look rough and creepy, and the way their mouths moved. Did that take you out of the movie at all, or did it seem charming?
I know what you're talking about though. When those images were first released, because I was kind of in the same boat, because I don't think Winnie the Pooh's ever done live action before.
I don't.
At least not like a feature film. So yeah, at first I was like, whoa, these look weirdly realistic, but in the movie, seeing them move and interact with things, it's adorable. Like they look like these, when you have a stuffed animal for decades and they just get kind of, worn out and dirty,
rough,
but
too.
yeah, that they look like that, and it makes perfect sense. So no, they they look perfect. They're
Oh,
so adorable.
well, I can't wait to go check it out this weekend. I don't know if I'll take my young children to it. I think it might just be a fun one for me to catch and just enjoy in the moment. I don't know if I want my son to see me cry because I have a feeling I'm going to cry at
There's
this.
a couple. Yeah, there's a couple scenes that just hit you.
Oh,
It is a very happy ending, though. I know you.
Oh, I'm
I know
sure.
you're a fan of those.
I do like me a happy ending.
No, I was expecting the movie to be like this melancholy, just story about him eventually having to leave them behind, but it's kind of the opposite. It starts out really, really sad and then ends incredibly triumphant.
Oh, nice. I think I can handle sad in the beginning if it's happy in the end.
Mm-hmm.
I think Up did that for people as well.
Yeah.
They became buddies in the end, and it made everything all okay.
It was weird. The weirdest part for me was seeing Ewan McGregor at the beginning, like in the first act, kind of being this workaholic, kind of not the best father or husband type guy, because Ewan McGregor is just like the nicest guy ever.
Yeah.
So it was like, whoa, I don't like seeing Ewan McGregor not think about his family or, disregard Pooh. But his character arc, it's like, okay, phew.
He comes back.
Yeah.
Pooh pulls him back. Well, there's a few other films out this weekend that probably won't get near the opening that Christopher Robin is going to do. But for wide releases, we've got Darkest Minds and Spy Who Dumped Me. And on the limited end,
I think Eighth Grade expands.
Eighth Grade expands.
Yeah,
and then the Dinesh D'Souza film, Death of a Nation, opens in select markets for a reason.
I wonder which markets those are.
But probably the one that I'm more interested in between Darkest Minds and Spy Who Dumped Me is Spy Who Dumped Me.
Yeah, naturally.
I love a comedy. I love those two ladies, Kate McKinnon and Mila Kunis.
She's long overdue for like a leading role, Kate McKinnon.
Yeah.
I feel like because people have loved her for years now. She's like the standout on Saturday Night Live. She's had a couple supporting roles in comedies here and there, but I feel like this will be her best opportunity yet to show off her comedy chops.
I'm worried a little bit. This year comedy took a hit at the box office this year.
Oh, for sure.
Especially rated R comedy.
Yeah, looking back, I mean,
we had Game Night, we had Tag and Blockers, and
Oh, I totally forgot about Blockers.
And they did okay.
Yeah, they're all decent enough. It sounds like I saw Tag and Game Night. They're fine, but yeah, they didn't
break out.
No.
And a lot of people have speculated in the trades that that's due to streaming services.
Yeah.
Oversaturating the comedy market. And it's
true. A lot of the best comedy out there is like TV shows that people watch on the small screen. So maybe subconsciously they've kind of been conditioned to view comedy as more of like an at-home small screen experience.
Like a Netflix experience even. Yeah. Because there they can really push boundaries and stuff. Yeah. So I wonder if moving forward you just won't see the big rated R comedies like Hangover or anything like that.
That is interesting.
That gives you that cultural...
I'm trying to think what the last like big...
rated R comedy
phenomenon
was.
Yeah, rated R.
Yeah.
And I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, me too. I think it was Hangover. I don't think we've gotten anywhere near that.
Jeez, that's like almost 10 years ago.
I know.
That's ridiculous.
I know.
There has to be one between then and now, but I doubt it was as big as The Hangover.
I wonder if also, having superhero films
they're kind of like comedies.
Into comedy. Yeah.
Yeah, I never really put those together, but every Marvel movie is kind of doubles as a comedy.
Right. And so you kind of get that comedy fix a little bit with those in a safe place. I mean, you're not looking for like raunchy comedy in those, but then if you're getting your raunchy comedy and streaming and you're getting your like safe comedy from a Marvel action.
Yeah.
I just don't know if there's like if the audience is ever needing the comedy, like if they're
well, I mean, to be fair though, there hasn't really been an R-rated comedy that a lot of people kind of unanimously view as like a really really good movie in its own right, because people like Game Night enough. It was a decent movie. Tag was hit or miss for a lot of people. I never saw Blockers, but when a movie, I feel like a big part of a movie's success, whether people like to admit it or not, is kind of its critical reception. Because if it's kind of in the public consciousness viewed as like a really good movie, then
Right.
people are more inclined to go check it out for themselves.
Or maybe if the comedy transcends and becomes a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like Hanover, everybody was talking about their wolf packs and
Oh yeah.
and that kind of stuff. And I just don't know. Maybe that's why we can't recall another comedy, because we can't recall anything.
Well, yeah,
like,
they have to bring
funny
something
from
that
them.
stays in people's minds beyond just they were laughing when they
Yeah.
saw it. You know, things that can go on to become memes.
Yes.
Uh,
Oh, the meme
yeah,
culture.
if comedy can't make the memes, then it's
Right.
doomed to fail.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Spy Who Dumped Me. Those are
You know,
two
yeah, I mean,
incredibly talented comedic actresses,
Mhm.
and the concept in itself is kind of interesting and funny. So I want to see it, and I'm hoping that because it's rated R, they were really trying for a PG-13, but I think it ends up being too bloody, like
Oh.
violent, actually.
Oh, okay, it's not what I would
So
have expected.
yeah, we'll have to see if that's what I've heard, and we'll have to see if that's true. But if that's the case, then it might deter from the laugh aspect of
I mean,
it.
like I said, I'm glad that Kate McKinnon has a more prominent role now, but I don't know. I'm more hesitant about this one. I don't
Right.
think it's necessarily going to be the best quality movie. It gives me that Life of the Party kind of vibe,
That's
where
another
you know,
comedy.
people go and see it, and maybe in the theater they'll laugh at most of the jokes, but then by the time they leave the theater, you know, it's disappeared.
Right.
It's
Well,
just gone.
I wonder then how in the future Happy Time Murders is going to do, because that's just such a
True.
high concept, though.
Yeah.
That one might be the breakout because it's unique enough.
Yeah. I mean, for a mainstream movie, because
Yeah.
I'm sure there's crazy cult or B movies that have taken the concept of, you know, puppets doing such crude acts
Right.
to the extreme, but most people I have never seen those kinds of movies. So maybe just the idea of this movie, the concept of, you know, puppets asking for sex for money, you know, things like that will get people talking.
I always wonder when they have back and forth on the production and they're emailing each other about concepts and stuff, if that isn't like could be taken in such a sexual harassment context, and when
Yeah.
they're talking about these like extremely dirty sexual films. I just kind of
Yeah,
wonder, like,
true.
what do the email chains look like on them?
Yeah, especially nowadays.
So do you think Silly String should be colored or should be white in that scene? Like, with the if a puppet has purple skin, should the Silly String be purple? I'm sure those are all concepts they
Things
had
to
to
think about.
discuss.
For, you know, for work.
Right.
It's their job.
All work related. HR was probably very thrilled.
Yeah. So, yeah, those are my thoughts, though. Basically, I think I'm sure the two leads will have good chemistry and they'll
Yeah.
probably be funny, but the movie, I don't know. There's really no reason for me to think that it's going to do
Break out.
anything.
I hope it does. I hope there's something in it that's incredibly hilarious. And that
Yeah, no,
people-
I always hope for the
charming
best
and
for these
people wanna
things,
go.
but, you know, fact of the matter is most of the time,
Yeah.
nothing's really going to come of it.
The one I'm a little bit more worried about, because everybody likes a comedy. That'll always
Yeah.
draw some people in. But the one I'm worried about is Darkest Minds from
Yeah,
Fox.
that's a weird one. I mean, I hadn't even really heard of it until only a few months ago, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Fox has this movie called The Darkest Minds, and then they didn't really market it at all.
Not that we really saw.
And then, you know, they released a couple trailers, and I really didn't think the trailers were that good.
I just didn't know if it was a teen horror film, if it was like a superhero type genre film because it's X-Men with powers.
Well, it's exactly X-Men. From
Right.
everything in the trailer, you would totally be forgiven for thinking like, oh, is this a new X-Men movie? But no, it's just a blatant X-Men knockoff. But it has that young adult dystopian approach, which, I mean, I feel like that trend died out a long time ago. I feel like
It
the
did.
last Maze Runner movie was even late to the game with that stuff.
It was. And that's why you didn't see oh my gosh, after Hunger Games, that other franchise.
Oh, Divergent?
Divergent.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Divergent franchise
Oh,
didn't
that
even,
went off a cliff.
Yeah, that didn't finish out. Then luckily Maze Runner made it to the end, but
Yeah, I think that was like the worst performing of them too, though.
it was just young adult genre films just aren't doing as well anymore.
No, people got so many of those in such a short amount of time. I feel like everybody kind of got exhausted or fatigued by them.
Well, in the story, I never quite understood how they were so popular because the protagonists in them are usually too young for adults to like want to.
That's also a thing that I've always thought was weird.
Yeah,
Just the craze with
watch.
the fiction itself. Like,
Yeah.
like I mean, sadly, I feel like a lot of people don't read,
No.
and then a huge chunk of the people that actually do read only, young adult
Easy
fiction.
books.
It's really weird to me.
Yeah.
I mean, read what you want. I don't care, but I just feel like I've always thought that, the fact that so many adults, the few who do read that are reading these, I always thought that's kind of a weird
Yeah, because how can they relate?
thing.
These are
It's like what are you
teenagers.
really getting out of this?
And then for little kids, you can't let them watch that kind of stuff. So you're really only, your target audience is really only young teens, because older teens don't want to watch 13-year-olds. They want to watch adult stuff. So and adults don't want to watch little kids, because how could you ever relate? So I just never quite understood the craze for all those
No, me
films.
I think it's just because Hunger Games at the time was original enough. Like, it's obviously, that you can go back to 2000 with the movie Battle Royale, but
I think they wanted something after Twilight, and
Yeah.
it was interesting and visually interesting
well, it was
enough.
like the demographic of Twilight, but it was
Right.
like cool. It
Right.
wasn't glittery vampires that
No.
everyone had been making fun
This
of
was
for
like grittier.
years and years.
She shoots
It's
bows.
it's like get ready for blood and death, murder and survival.
This is real, people. These are adult
Yeah.
decisions.
And I mean, the movies are good enough. They definitely went downhill after the
Yes.
second one, I would say. But
I think that's trying to stretch out thin source material even further.
But no, I think it was just because the movies were good enough and unique enough at the time that people kind of were like, okay, I can get into this. And then it became so big. It became kind of that phenomenon. And so people kind of feel obligated to go see it, since everybody around them, it seems like, has seen it. But then all of the other movies after that,
Yeah. So
they'd already been in production. And then by the time they come out, people are like, I liked Hunger Games, but I don't think I want to stick around for this type of movie.
right. So is Darkest Minds a horror film, or is it a teen
I
film?
don't know.
It's just so confusing. You
what I
almost
get from
have
the
to
trailers,
see it
it's
to
like-
decide.
It's like there's no kids left or something.
Or they're
and-
like in a
Because the tagline is like, if you're one of us, come find us, or something.
Right.
And I don't know if it's just about kids with powers, which are mutants, or
Yeah.
just kids in general. I don't know. I feel like they've been really vague with their marketing, vague and minimal. So I feel like most people probably haven't even heard of this. And then when they do end up seeing the trailer, it looks really derivative and kind of lame.
Yeah. So that one I'm a little worried about. I'm hoping that of the people that do go see it has good word of mouth, that maybe it's not confusing. But what if it's like the mother of young adult films, where people go thinking it's one thing and it's like completely different, and then they're confused.
I really don't know what to think or say about that movie.
Yeah,
It kind of came out of nowhere, and then there was nothing, and then there's a couple trailers, and now here it is.
Here it is. Play it.
Yeah, just show it. Whatever.
And then finally, we've got Death of a Nation, the Dinesh D'Souza film, only opening in select markets. I'm kind of wondering if, his films have been pretty good, solid grossers, like for what they do.
For their target audience,
But
people will eat it up.
Do you think, though, with the way the political climate is, with a conservative president and more a conservative majority in politics, that the interest is there? I just don't think. I wonder. I wouldn't be surprised if this one did less.
So it's very thin ice.
Yeah.
Territory, but I don't know. Like right now, like all of his movies, its critical reception is borderline, like across the board, just 0 out of 100. That's always how they turn out. And fact of the matter is, a large part of that is because there's just a divide. on the other side, you're going to look at him and just think he's this, conspiracy theory, ridiculous talking points. But then the people who are on the other side,
Right.
more conservative people, they look at him and they buy into, or they believe that,
Right.
People are just trashing this movie because of its politics.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to tell with these movies, like if it's a good movie, if it's well researched, because you just can't get through people's political opinions.
I just wonder if, because he was a conservative voice in a time where people felt like they didn't have it over the last, previous 8 years over the previous administration, he really like came to his own during that time.
Yeah. With like Hillary's America, or
yeah.
I forget the names of his other movies.
Yeah, and I think it was Obama.
There was Obama 2016 or something.
And then Hillary's America right before the election, and now this one, Death of a Nation.
I love his titles.
Yeah. So I just wonder if if the interest is even there, or if people are, kind of.
I mean, I would say that it is, just because when you get into like the extreme fringes of either side, there's that mentality that us against them kind of thing, and it seems like that's right where this documentary is going, because I think he's trying to talk about how the two parties switched, how the Republican Party, used to be the party that was against slavery, and the Democratic Party was for slavery, and he's trying to talk about how it switched. But
that's been his narrative for the last couple of movies, I think.
Oh, absolutely, it has been. But this one's like, Abe Lincoln is on the cover with superimposed with Donald Trump's face.
Yeah, that he's the next Lincoln.
What? This isn't gonna change anybody on the other side's minds, but
I don't think it's that. I just, because they are a solid performer in some markets, you think like, oh, this should be a no-brainer putting them in those markets.
Yeah, no,
again.
It is interesting to see how it'll compare to the other ones.
But I don't know if the need is there, if the interest, or if people are just phased out, like overwhelmed with it all.
I wouldn't say that they're overwhelmed, because the people who are fans of his work, there's going to be a section of those people, like I said,
do they still have an
probably more in the fringe.
For it?
I'd think so, because they're living in they're thinking, they're in the climate where, like you're attacked for being conservative, or you're, there's all of these opinions that are floating around, and I feel like there's a lot of people out there who maybe want confirmation bias, so they'll watch this documentary to,
get what they need out of it.
Yeah, just lift themselves up.
It's just interesting to me. I want to really look at the breakdown of the grosses over the weekend and see if the markets that it goes in, if it performs the same as his other ones, or if there's fatigue, because he almost has franchise fatigue.
I don't think it'll be as big as like the Hillary's America, because that was like where things were at a boiling point. It was like, it's now or never. We gotta win this.
But Hillary's America didn't do as well as the Obama film. They each didn't quite do as strong.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I've never seen any of his movies, but all I know is that across the board in the entertainment industry, they're kind of seen as kind of hack, like,
yeah,
just yeah. But so I don't think this is going to be any different. I feel like it's just going to be the next one.
Right.
It'll probably be a little bit less than the one before it, which was itself a little bit less than the one before that. But I don't think it'll be like a huge drop.
Keep cranking these puppies out until they don't make any money.
Yep. And then a couple of years we'll probably get, I don't know what he can come up with those genius titles.
Yes. So yeah, that kind of sums up the weekend. What to expect, kind of what our thoughts on it.
Brief little episode. Slow news day.
It is a slow news day. We covered a lot earlier in the week.
True. Yeah.
But I think everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Summer is winding down. We only have a few more weeks of it left before.
Oh yeah, back to school's in full swing. I'm seeing those signs everywhere.
Yeah, time to get school supplies, get kids back in. After Labor Day,
we don't have time for the movies.
Over.
I guess we are in August now, which is kind of next to January. Like, not really the best month for movies.
August is slow. September is very slow.
Oh, is September even worse? Oh.
The first couple weeks in September.
Oh, I guess that's true. That's why it just dominated
Yeah,
last year.
because there's nothing else to play.
For a couple years now.
And then we get a little bit better in October, because October has been a hit or miss month. And
Oh, Halloween. People want to see scary movies.
some of the times, but like Gravity, I think, came out in October.
Yeah, it did.
And, people just, if it's a good film and it plays older because your kids are in school, so you're not going to get little kids to stuff, it can have legs and go. And then November for Fantastic Beasts. Oh my gosh, can't wait.
Oh, yeah. I'm very, very excited.
And then we're into Christmas, so.
Yeah, so I guess we'll have a couple slow months here, and then things will start picking back up.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what product gets to come to our little theater here.
Well, you guys should all go check out Christopher Robin. It will warm your soul.
And if you feel like being adventurous, check out Darkest Minds. And if you feel like a laugh, go see Spy Who Dumped Me.
And then there's Death of a Nation.
Oh yeah, and if you're feeling political, Death of a Nation. I'm sure it'll get you fired up one way or the other.
Probably be entertaining one way or the other.
Yeah. All right, take care, everyone.
See you later.